All right. Let's see if this goes. Are we live? I think we are. Okay, we're doing it public live stream style. This is a new one for us. I'm just alerting the Discord boys here. There we go. I don't usually do these full on live, but I thought, why not? Let's have fun with it. Got nothing to lose. What's up? What's up? Hey there. How is everybody doing? We're doing a bit of a test today. Full live with everybody. Hanging out. If you guys would like to hang out with me on Discord, join over at yammynoob.co. It's a ton of fun. I do have to shout that out for you guys, for all those at home. I will be answering some questions on stream. We're going to be going over some news. I've got 3 bits of news I wanted to talk about, and then I was going to do kind of an open forum type of thing, and just have some fun, answer some questions. I thought that'd be a good time. So, yeah, how's everybody doing? What's going on? What bikes are you excited about? What's going on with your lives? Hopefully none of you have gone down. Hopefully you're all having a good time on your bikes out there, and we're enjoying life. Juan says, how's Brandon? I think Brandon's all right. I think, Juan, you asked earlier about Brandon. I answered that in the last Yamcast. It's one of those things where it was a short-term content contributor type of thing. Brandon lives in Dallas. I live in Austin. It's very far away, so I think it would just became a little difficult to make the logistics work. But he may come back to the channel at some point. AC Ninja, what the hell do I do in the winter? I have my 400 for a month, and the season is over. You know what? I was actually thinking about that because some people, hit us up on Discord, and I was looking at some customer emails and stuff, and people are asking about how to ride in the cold and all that. And I live in Texas, and so for me, it's really not that bad for riding in the winter. But man, I was like, dude, I don't know what people do. So I actually ran a survey because I was curious. I was like, what the hell do people do in the winter? And a lot of people say they just keep on riding, but I think in some places where it's like iced over, it's going to be pretty tough to keep riding. So sorry about that if you live in an area like that. Abhinav says, hey, I'm from Himachal Pradesh, where you went for the Himalayan test. How did you like the place overall? Wow, that's really cool, man. It always blows my mind how small yet large of a place YouTube is. That is so crazy that someone who lives there saw the videos and is now on the stream. It's just so cool how we're all connected with the internet. It's really awesome. I loved it. I thought it was really, really neat. I really enjoyed the scenery. I thought that the area was beautiful. The people were super friendly. So y'all got a really good thing going there. Don't let people come in and spoil it. It felt very authentic. The place we were at was quite modern and nice and all that, but I felt that the coolest part about that whole spot was how authentic it was. It really felt like it wasn't spoiled by much. There were areas that looked like they'd never been touched by mankind, which is really cool. Zach says, is this for the MT-03 drawing? No, I actually did the MT-03 drawing earlier today on Discord. A gentleman by the name of Christoph in Virginia won the bike. So that was really cool to see that. And we got to him via email, and he reached back out. So we're waiting for his paperwork and all that, and we'll get the bike over to him, which is really exciting. All right. Wow, this is really fun doing this on full live. Y'all are coming in. Senpai says, hey there, Yami. What are your thoughts on the Exeat S1000RR? I don't know what that is. I know the S1000RR is the BMW, but I don't know what the Exeat is. Savage says, you can't ride in Russian winter for sure. We keep in the garage and ride for 5 months only. Yeah, I think there's some places where it's just simply impossible to ride a traditional motorcycle. You have to either go for the snowmobiles or an ice cycle or something like that. So Senpai says it's a quad S1000RR. That's pretty sweet, but I don't know about that bike. So yeah, or that quad. I don't know anything about quads in general. I do remember when I was 14, my buddy wanted me to ride a quad, but it had a clutch, and I didn't know how to operate a clutch or ride a manual transmission car at the time. And so I was like, nah, I don't think this is for me. So I've actually never ridden a quad. Okay. Wow, you guys are coming in strong here. I love this. I was going to say, before we get started, I'll give you guys a clue as to what we're talking about today before I go picture-in-picture. I wanted to talk about the Kawasaki 7 hybrid motorcycle. I actually didn't make a video on that, and I thought it would be pretty interesting because I've given it some time to simmer. Dude, this thing got people so up in arms. I wanted to kind of render an opinion on it and talk about it. I thought that it would be fun to talk about the KTM 990 Duke. That was one of my bikes I wanted to talk about. And then I also wanted to talk about the Ultraviolet F77 and F99 that debuted at EICMA. Those looked really neat. So giving you guys a little bit of sneak peeks there of what we're going to talk about today. So, okay. Noicake says, people are already breaking their Ninja ZX4RR bikes. LOL. How are they breaking them? Let me know. I'd love to see what's going on there. Snoopy, why is there coolant on my intake valves? That to me tells me you have a head gasket that is compromised or something is getting where it shouldn't. There shouldn't be any coolant near your intake valves, so that's not good. Kato says, I'm getting ready to go for a 2-day tour in the Himalayan mountains you were on my RC390. Worried about my back. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a hike, but I think you're going to have a ton of fun. The roads are really windy, so you'll be able to move about a little bit and really enjoy it. So, yeah. All right. Hello, Papa Yam. Hello from the Netherlands. Can you do a live squid intro? A little bit of improv. I don't know about my improv skills. I am a comedian in the sense that you can edit me to look like I say funny things. I don't know how good I would be wheeling and dealing some jokes for people. I don't think I'm that talented or funny, to be honest. I'm just a sentient dog on the internet, a professional dingus on YouTube. It's really quite something. So Thomas asked here further up, any thoughts on the new MT-09 video coming? So I thought it was a cool update. I thought that the geometry revisions, I bet it handles better, and it's now very close to the Street Triples and the MV Agusta Brutales. To me, the MT-09's kind of cool motard riding position was one of the best parts about it. Truthfully, I really thought that was the best part about the MT-09. So now that we're kind of, like moving away from that, I feel like it's a bit of a shame, honestly, but yeah, I guess we could make a video about that at some point. Dexter says, keep watching Yami Noob. Yes, please keep watching Yami Noob. I truly do appreciate it. I really, really love it. Ooh, Arahan White here. Who you got, Pecco or Martin for championship? If I can just take 3 minutes of your time, talk about MotoGP. Please don't leave the stream. I will come back and talk about bikes and answer questions, but I just want to take a quick moment to talk about MotoGP. It has been such an entertaining season, so twisty, turny, bizarre with everything that's been going on. I just feel like Michelin should not be the tire provider for MotoGP anymore. It's ridiculous how many quality concern problems they've been having. It's not just Martin. It's been Pecco this year. It's been several other riders that say that they qualify and they practice on one feeling of a tire, and then they go and race, and it's a totally different feeling because Michelin doesn't provide good quality control on their tires. Read up about it. It's not the first time it's happened. Really sad. I really wish Pirelli or Bridgestone would be the suppliers for GP. It's just annoying that Michelin is the supplier. So I think it's sad that it happened to Martin at the most inopportune time. I can see how some people can think it's kind of maybe a controversy or maybe a conspiracy to go against Martin there. But truthfully, I think it was just a terrible luck of the draw. And, Pecco had terrible luck this year as well. He had that monster high side where he almost got his neck ran over in Catalunya. And so I think that it can happen to any rider. It can happen at any time to any rider where these things happen. Pecco had several DNFs, and Coda, he just, God, that seems like it wasn't even part of the season, but it was, where he just wiped out. Martin's been cleaning up. So I think I still maintain the belief that Martin can win the championship. He is my pick. I would love for him to win. I think he's such an aggressive and explosive rider and such a entertaining rider to watch. I think he's got tremendous talent and pace, but Pecco has proven to be the more talented and the more thoughtful racer who will probably take the championship at the end of the year. So that's my MotoGP chat. I just saw that someone said that Gian Antonio's win was amazing. Yes, it was. For a guy that doesn't have a ride next year to win a MotoGP race. And to put that into context, it took someone like Johan Zarco, what was it, like 130 GPs to win a race? You know, it took him forever to win a MotoGP race. And he won this year too, which was pretty cool. But, you know, Gian Antonio's win was amazing to see as well. Very, very cool. It says, thank you for saying back to Bridgestone. Dude, for real, back to Bridgestone. The Bridgestone tires were freaking sweet. I don't know why. It's just, it's politics. It's money. I know why, but yeah, would just be a bummer. Would be a bummer. But I cannot spend all day talking about MotoGP. This stream is for you guys out there. So we have a couple bits of bikes we want to talk about. Let's go ahead and switch over to picture-in-picture. Bam. Oh, we want to go here. Boom. Let's talk about the Kawasaki 7 hybrid bike. Okay, dude. This thing has been on everybody's radar. Everybody's talking about this thing. And I let it simmer a little bit. This news came out earlier in November. I wanted to just kind of let it simmer. I saw it when it came out, obviously, because I got my finger to the freaking pulse on motorcycling, baby. But I wanted to take my time and talk about it because I think that a lot of people had very hard gut reactions to it. They're like, no, why is this happening? Oh my God, what is this? No. And the typical old heads of motorcycling came out and said, why is this thing, more complicated, more silly? Why are we building these things? Hybrid technology doesn't belong on motorcycling. But here's the thing, guys. I think that creating something like this is cool. I think that Kawasaki taking risks is cool. On the one hand, this is a company that's made a 399cc inline-4 engine. Why? We don't know. But they're also making a hybrid. They're also making an electric Ninja. I mean, Kawasaki, unlike, I would say, Suzuki and Honda, they're taking chances, And granted, that is probably because Kawasaki sells way fewer bikes than Honda and can afford to take risks because their motorcycle branch isn't even the thing that really makes them money. Kawasaki makes way more money on giant, heavy machinery. That's like what they do. The motorcycling branch for them is like kind of for funsies. So they've always made really interesting bikes throughout the years. Even though people think I hate Kawasaki, I don't hate Kawasaki's, truthfully. I really don't. And so the Hybrid 7, I think, is a very interesting decision here. So if you don't know, the Hybrid 7 is the world's first hybrid motorcycle. What does that mean? It means that it's using a combustion engine and an electric-powered engine, all kind of wrapped up in one thing. It is not a plug-in hybrid, as far as I understand. It is a engine and battery combination and motor combination that work together. So basically, you can think of it like it's kind of like a Prius, but yet it can also work independently. So the article here says, the keyword in the Hybrid 7 description is strong, which signifies that the Hybrid 7's 451cc IC engine and an electric motor can run simultaneously or power the bike independent of each other, even if the electric motor is sized for slower speeds and shorter distances. So this thing is kind of your, if you need a bike to pop around your inner cities, you can go up to 7 to 10 miles of this thing, no gas, pretty cool. Or you can use it to increase your MPGs. So it's saying here, but it's different from a mild hybrid, which uses battery power to reduce the engine's workload in certain situations, but not to propel the vehicle. And it's also different, like I said, from a plug-in hybrid. So think of it basically like a very complicated Ninja 400 or a 500 now because we have the new 451 Eliminator engine powering these motorcycles. This basically looks like the exact same chassis as a Ninja 400, but just with a hybrid running gear that can propel the bike on independent power. It says, no need to worry about finding a working charging station or fussing with the cables. The 7 hybrid battery is charged while riding the engine and regenerative braking. So you never have to plug it in or charge it. It is pretty much always a hybrid system that can help and work out for you, which is pretty cool. Dual disc brakes, definitely heavier weight and a much more complicated motorcycle. But, this is Kawasaki working towards that carbon neutrality, working towards those concepts that are going to help us reduce emissions. I would love to see, truthfully, I've talked about this before on the channel, and it's not super sexy motorcycle news or anything, but I think we could still retain our gas-powered motorcycles, if I may be selfish for a little bit, if we all invested into public transit and more people just walking and bicycling. If more people chose to walk and bicycle and take trains places, if we had that infrastructure, then we could still enjoy gas-powered vehicles because the emissions would be lower overall. I really don't think that everybody owning a Tesla is the right choice because we're going to have crazy emissions to build those things anyways. Look at those. I don't know if you've ever seen a lithium mine. It's a disaster for the environment. It's not very good. So, chassis here on the 7 hybrid. It says that hybrid cars have been mainstream since the Prius and all that. That the biggest problem with motorcycling is the fact that the packaging is so small, and that's why they've retained their ICE setups for so long, is because, it's been so difficult to create battery and motor combinations on top of a combustion combination in such a small package that requires very high levels of technology, very small batteries, very efficient motors, which is something we've only just now started to be able to do, really. And truthfully, the cost benefit wasn't really there because a very efficient motorcycle can get 120 miles to the gallon. If you look at something like a Honda Monkey or a Navi or even a Ninja 250, I mean, those vehicles get 70, 80, 90, 100 miles to the gallon all day, every day. So they're already extremely fuel efficient. Those are figures that cars can't even dream of. I think a Prius gets like 50 to 60 mpgs. It can't even conceive of 120 miles to the gallon. If you could make a car that could get 100 miles to the gallon and had a 15-gallon fuel tank, you could get 1,500 miles to the tank. You'd have to fill up once a month or something like that. But bikes are obviously much lighter weight and obviously much more fuel efficient because of that reason. So over here, it's talking about the spec sheets. The 7 hybrids wheelbase is longer than the 650s, and it's 6.5 inches longer than the Ninja 400. That is substantial. 6.5 inches. Because come on, folks, the jokes makes themselves. We're all familiar with how much 4 to 8 inches are, right? 6.5 inches on a wheelbase is going to make a big difference right there. The suspension settings, talking about it here, are a little bit different. They're a little stiffer because of the added weight and all that good stuff. But this is the type of thing that you can't. Oh, it's so difficult because motorcycling, we always look at the spec sheets. We look at the performance. We want to see what the bike can do from a 0 to 60, a handling, a power to weight ratio, all that stuff. We always want bigger and badder. When you look at these experimental vehicles like the Ninja 7 Hybrid, you're going to see a motorcycle that's going to make, I think it's roughly 70 horsepower or so. It's saying that the 7 hybrid trim, the 451cc engine makes 58 horsepower and 32 foot-pounds of torque. It's the motor's liquid-cooled, 7 kilowatt interior permanent magnet type mounted behind the engine's cylinders. The power comes from a 48-valve lithium-ion battery cooled via an air duct that runs along the right side of the bike. So you can see the way that's set up right here. The motor and battery weigh 29 pounds each, but factor in the additional hardware, and you can see where the Ninja 7 starts to pork out a little bit. So, yeah, the motor is claiming 58 horsepower, but then the motor power is 7 kilowatts, but the max power is 9 kilowatts. You can do like a race mode or a fast mode or something like that. More than that, though, people kind of got up in arms about the transmission on the Ninja 7 because it features an automatic, it features no clutch, and it becomes something that I think a lot of people start to get a little up in arms about because it takes away from the riding experience and is one of my least favorite things about electric vehicles in general. Is that there's no clutch, there's no engagement, there's just the one pedal that goes and the one pedal that stops. It just feels very boring. My phone is vibrating in a bizarre way. Oh, okay. It's a call. I just updated it, and it was just I never felt it vibrate like that. So it's a 6-speed automated manual transmission that you can switch between automatic or manual button shifting. So it's kind of like Honda's DCT, right? You can set it to full auto and twist and go, and it's going to shift through gears, which feels very strange on a motorcycle, but you can also press the buttons and kind of go through the gears. You have lots of different riding modes. So many. I've looked into this. There are so many different riding modes and different settings and all this sort of things, because you can do sport hybrid, eco hybrid. You can put it in manual, automatic. You can have the clutch actuate in a certain way. You can go EV only where there's no clutch. There's so much going on here. And like I said, you can put an e-boost mode where you can actually get the motorcycle to get a little bit more power. And there's actually a really cool bit of footage that shows the 7 Hybrid kind of initially out accelerating a ZX10. I think Revzilla put that out. I can't remember who put that video out. TFT display, you got a little turtle on the dashboard to indicate you are in fact riding a Kawasaki lawnmower. Very important. And so yeah, it's the type of bike that there's a lot to unpack, and the fact that it's so new and so different, I think really deserves our, kind of, we deserve to give Kawasaki a pat on the back. It's kind of cool that they've decided to build something like this. And I would really love the chance to ride this thing, and ultimately, hell, if I can purchase one for next year and do like a whole long-term review on it, I think you guys would really like to see that. And I would be really interested, as boring as it would be for me, to own something like this, just to really test it out and see what it can do throughout a 6-month period or something like that. Because it is pretty interesting that, Kawasaki has built something like this. So, Kawasaki 7 Hybrid, I think that a lot of old heads up in arms about it, getting upset about it, but needlessly so, really. I don't think we need to get so angry at Kawasaki. I think that something like this is cool that it exists, and it goes to show that the future of motorcycling may not be just boring, quiet electric bikes for everybody. It may be this cool hybrid future, and maybe if they give one with a clutch, a motorcycle that I could put into electric only mode if I'm deep in a city and I can't emit any gases. Cool, I can do that. Once I leave the city, I can activate the engine and get on my way, and it doesn't impede my riding. Maybe I have a clutch as well. I really wouldn't mind. Yes, it would be harder to maintain. Yes, it would be much more difficult to diagnose problems and all those sort of things. But I think ultimately it's the type of bike that shows what is going to probably happen in the future with motorcycling. You see here the the hand cluster over here on the left-hand side. You have the automatic manual mode, the walk mode, the EV mode, the sport mode. There's so many interest. If you like gadgets and gizmos, this is a very cool bike for you to get. But yeah, no clutch. Very odd, very odd. But you'd have the plus and minus right there, so you can shift gears. I'll be totally honest, I tried this out on Honda's DCT on the Rebel 1100. Wasn't a huge fan. I thought it was fine, but it really did not give me the same feeling as shifting gears myself. It really didn't. But a lot of the reviewers said that once you get it up on the canyons and in the normal like motorcycle mode, that it's a competent, good bike. I think it's pretty neat that it exists, and I'm happy that it's not as boring as a Honda NC750, but the NC750 is a very, very appropriate motorcycle for what it can do. So maybe this new generation of hybrid motorcycles is going to really serve a great purpose. But yeah, let me see what you guys are talking about it. Switch over to the chat here. So let's see. I have a lot of comments on here. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying. Kawasaki versus 650 versus Honda CB500X. Oof, the most boring comparison. I don't know if I'm the right guy for that. Yeah, Boxer here saying they're testing the market, pushing what's possible, innovation. That's what we want to see. I like it. Like to see that. Handgun Pro, very, very interesting point here. Ninja 250, 300, 400, 500, 600, 66, 657. Where will it end? Yeah, very good point. Did you know that the Ninja 300 is still being sold in certain markets? I actually just found out because I follow a Brazilian channel called Acelerados, and they actually still have the Ninja 300 for sale, going against the R3, which is very, very strange. Let's get this set up over here. No clutch equals no britches. Yep, that is true. That is true. Yeah. So yeah, that's my opinions on the Hybrid 7. Tie Biggers, please mention the CBR 650R. Check this out. You ready? CBR 650R. I mentioned it. There you go. Mentioned it for you. Hope you enjoyed that one. Let's flip back over here. Let's talk about the next bit of news. We'll go picture in picture. We are indeed in picture in picture. Okay. 2024 KTM Duke 990. Now, this is starting to get a little silly. I saw that this motorcycle came out. I didn't want to talk about it, mainly because I felt that it was just a silly KTM thing that they're doing, where every 3 years we get a bigger bike that I'm supposed to accept as a middleweight motorcycle. I'm supposed to accept that a 1000cc V-twin, or parallel twin, excuse me, I was thinking of the old 990, is a middleweight motorcycle. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care what the manufacturers are telling you. I don't care what lies you're being fed. A 990 is not a middleweight. I know it can sound like a middleweight, and in theory it is a middleweight now, but this is getting so silly. Maybe I'm the old head that I was talking about earlier, where I just feel that I feel like we're really losing the plot, especially because now KTM has a Duke 390, and if you want to stay in the Duke family and you want to go up, you got to go to the 990. That's ridiculous. How are you supposed to go from a Duke 390 to a Duke 990? So, we kind of knew this was coming, especially as things are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The Super Duke is going to become a 1390. BMW released their 1300 GS. Things are getting bigger and bigger. So, yeah. We started with the 790, we got the 890, and now we have the 990. So they're promising the lightweight scalpel-like performance and all that stuff. But I wanted to look at this headlight. This, to me, is the most polarizing part about this motorcycle, and one that I think a lot of people rightfully have panned. I gotta be honest, I don't really care about what headlights look like on motorcycles. I'm not even that particularly, strong opinioned on what the front end of a bike looks like. But I gotta be totally honest, if I can find a good picture here of this freaking motorcycle. From the side, it looks fine. From the side, it looks good. It's a little like chesty for my taste. It feels like this proportion here, hopefully I'm in picture in picture. I think I am. This proportion here, the gas tank, is just a little big for my taste. You see that here? It just feels like the tail and the gas tank are not in proportion. It feels like this should be quite a bit smaller visually and this a little bit bigger. But they're going for the stumpy tail thing. But here we go. I found it. It has this like smushed in headlight. I just think this is one of, oh my God, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but truly, guys, I think this is one of the most poorly designed headlights I've seen in a while. It looks like someone just smushed its face in. I really am not a fan of how this looks. And I know KTM goes for the insectoid look and all that, but I just find that it's, my God, it's just quite squished in. So let's run through the specs, shall we? We have a 947cc parallel twin, so it's a 990. We're doing the Kawasaki thing where we're just making up numbers as we go along. Whatever, how dare we call this a 950? Nope, it's a 990. Whatever. 123 horsepower claim, 76 foot-pounds of torque. So honestly, not that different from the 890. A little bit more power, a little bit more torque, but really this is an emissions grab because they have to make the bikes bigger for emissions and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. It's boring stuff that you guys don't care about. It is a pretty new motorcycle, though. I did notice this. It's got a new swing arm that's gravity die cast versus pressure die cast. Look, I'm not going to tell you guys like I know the big difference of what that exactly means, but it's just saying that the stiffness is reduced for increased bump absorption. So cool. They can make the marketing say whatever they want, right? They could say, oh, a stiffer swing arm for more lateral rigidity side to side and better handling. Or they say, oh, the swing arm is less stiff, so it can absorb its bumps better and feels better to ride. It doesn't matter, honestly. It doesn't matter. Frame here, engine's going to be a stress member, floating steel trellis frame, subframe bolted on. You love to see it. It's revised for increased rigidity. So swing arm, less rigid, frame, more rigid. It all cancels out, I guess. Who the hell knows? The 890 was a beautiful handling motorcycle. If you guys can believe it, I still, to this day, have not ridden a 990. It's been that long. An 890. What am I saying? Nobody's ridden a 990. I haven't ridden it. You haven't ridden it. Nobody's ridden it. But I haven't ridden an 890 either. I hear that the 890R is a tremendous motorcycle, and I would love to ride one and have fun with one, but it's just been one of those kind of weird, elusive bikes. 5-inch TFT display. I love the way the KTM displays look. They're very easy to read, very easy to use, very, very nice. So let's see here. What else we got on the 990 over here? So, like I said, engine is increasing. It's really kind of... I think it's bizarre that they decided to kind of plus size it and make it a little more substantial, because where does that leave the Super Duke? Where does that leave this chasm between the 390 and the 990? I think that it's only a matter... And look, I know you're going to say, oh, KTM has the 690s and the Enduros and the Supermotos and all that. Yeah, they do. I suppose that's their stepping stone to the 990, but those aren't really street bikes, right? Like the 690 Supermoto is a whole thing unto itself. The Enduro bike is also a whole thing unto itself. Not really a street bike. I suppose you could go from a 390 to a 690, but it's kind of like you're going off diagonally, not in a straight line in the Duke progression. But I think KTM's kind of given themselves, maybe with the riding modes and some of the technology, you can tame the power and you can go from a 390 to a 990, but I still think it's quite a bit junk, especially because of the torque. You're going from a single cylinder, nice, polite, torquey little thing to a big old parallel twin that's going to bark, 76 foot-pounds of torque. That's almost leader bike torque because guess what? It's basically a leader bike. Ta-da! If you look at Kawasaki's lineup, right? Z400/500, Z650, Z900, ZH2, whatever you want to do after that. But there's 2 steps between the big bike, right? There's a little bike, the medium bike, and the big bike, and then the super bike, basically. So KTM, I think, is missing that bit right there. They're quoting this thing's going to cost about $12,500. So yeah, that's going to be something to consider there. So it's saying there's a catch, though, as you'll need to upgrade to performance or track riding modes to fine-tune traction control settings. Those are available for the first 1,500 kilometers, but need to be purchased once that demo period is over. So we got the freaking KTM demo mode thing again. I really don't like that. They should just come with all the modes. I don't understand why you're paywalling software features. Please stop doing that on motorcycles. It is so annoying. Nobody likes it. It's a bad experience for the customer. Stop it. So yeah, it says riders are limited by how much they can adjust rider rate settings in standard ride modes, but they offer the solution, the performance and track modes, which are available as part of a demo program, but they have to be purchased after that number is exceeded for the mileage. Again, I think it's horrible. USB-C connection for charging. I really wish it was regular USB-C. That would make it better, but whatever. Not my... I barely even use my phone on my bike as is. I do sometimes mount it on my rock form stand, but I'm not really a huge phone user while I'm using the bike. But yeah, I think that, we're going to live in a world where KTM 3 years from now is going to come out with a 1090 and they're going to tell us it's the middleweight and we have a 1500 Super Duke. We're going to have a Harley engine in the Super Duke, and we're going to have to be happy with that. And we're going to look back on the ZX4RR and high-revving sport bikes and just think, wow, we had it all, and we gave it all up, But Yeah, Duke 990, interesting motorcycle. Would love to take my hands and ride in one. I think the looks are a little hard to swallow for me personally, but let me check and see what you guys have to say about it on chat. So let's see here. Ethan says, I don't think this is live. Ethan, if you aren't looking at me right now, not thinking this is live, I'm about to come over there through the computer here and slap you. Christopher says, KTM comes out with everything but can't stay reliable. That is true. Mortigold says, or maybe the 1090 will be a 390 until you subscribe to the bigger motor. Yeah, they're going to have combustion chambers that shrink, and then it's paywalled, and then it increases somehow, right? Yeah, that is definitely going to be the thing. Let's see here. Handgun Pro, I wouldn't get 1,000 only because I'd have to buy more track days. Yeah, that's true. Bigger bikes usually tend to, go to tracks and make you really want to go and ride on track. It can be pretty challenging to ride a fast bike on the streets. Ethan says, looks like the MT-07 got shot by a shotgun. Ethan, I'm reading your comments. You better be on here. Yeah, the headlights. Yeah, this face looks smushed in. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you guys. It's, yeah. David says, hi, Yam. Checked in to like the live stream. Thank you, David. Loving the old Scout, by the way. Thank you. Are you the guy that won our giveaway Scout, or you just have a Scout? Either way, that's a great bike. Aiden says they are discontinuing the 890 and they are keeping the 790 Duke. Are they really? I didn't know that, Aiden. If that's true, because I think they were selling the 790s alongside the 890s. So now it's going to be 990 and 790. So that makes more sense. But, yeah, that's just a bit odd. So what else are you guys saying down here? Ty Biggers, Honda E-Clutch. Ooh, that's a good point, too. I think on the next time on the stream, I'll talk about that because I want to research that a little bit more before I jump in on a stream on it. Ajax says your ABS subscription has ended. Yeah, right when you go to break, it just locks up and it says you didn't have the subscription. So, yeah. Christopher says, maybe I'm an old head, but I'll stick with Japanese bikes. I don't trust the soccer-playing countries' European maintenance. Nah. Yeah, I think, it's tough. Like, I used to think that too, and I still do to an extent that, like, a good classic Japanese bike is, like, you can't go wrong. But the European bikes have such a, I'm going to sound like it's such a douchebag, but, like, they have such a je ne sais quoi, like, I don't know why. They just have a nice thing. But some Japanese bikes have that quality. I think a lot of Yamahas have that juice, Biggie, still loving, and yes, I ride the highways to Dallas, Medina, and back Houston on my 22 Himalayan. Heck yeah, that's awesome. That is great. Motor Maniac with a quick question here. Ducati or Aprilia? I got to say Ducati. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Okay, last bit of news, and then we'll hang out for a little bit longer here. We'll go picture in picture. I wanted to talk about this thing. This thing popped up on my radar. The Ultraviolet Automotive F77 and F99. These are two electric motorcycles that premiered at EICMA, if I remember correctly. The F77, this one right here, has a 10.3 kilowatt battery providing 40 horsepower and 100 newton meters of torque in 3 different variants: Shadow, Laser, and A-Strike. Those are the craziest trim model names I have seen in a very, very long time. I can't remember the last time I've seen something that crazy. And it kind of fits it because look at this thing. Hopefully I'm in picture-in-picture. You guys can see this. Look at this thing. This is one of the zaniest motorcycles I have seen in a long time. The inspiration for this is very aerospace, very airplane, and you can definitely see that. I think this is one of the coolest looking bikes I've seen in a while. It's got the MV Agusta flat wheel thing going on, and I actually wanted to pull up the website here. This is not sponsored by Ultraviolet. A lot of you guys always say that, like, anytime I talk about a bike that I'm getting checks, like, what is it? I went to the Himalayan launch, and y'all are like, yeah, freaking Royal Enfield paying you 20 grand to go out and test the bike. And I was like, dude, I wish. I just got a free trip to the Himalayas out of it. And I still said the fueling sucked. All right, so check out this video here. It's all about, like, fighter jets and all this stuff. That's kind of a little cheese ball, but let's see if we can actually see the motorcycle here a little bit. Yeah, you see it's battery powered. It's an electric motorcycle, which is the thing that made me a little bit sad. But man, these guys have such a like strong kind of retro future mech warrior aesthetic. I mean, look at this guy with his helmet and his like future suit and all that. This is what we all want to look like. Like when I was riding the Street Fighter V4S and I was wearing like my Revit kit, my helmet. This is the mind space I inhabited. But yeah, this is just like, look at this. This is cheeseball graphics, but this is what we all want to look like, right? And we just take off into space, and we look like that riding the bike. I have to commend these guys for this design because this is just insane for this thing to look like this. So it's the F99 factory racing platform. I have no idea what racing they're going to actually be doing. This is a whole lot of flash and panache for what is just an electric bike, really. But, I mean, take a look at this thing. No windshield. You're just going to get blasted in the face. No mirrors. Winglets for some reason. It's a cool-looking bike, man. It's a cool bike. It says, the Apex Predator, dynamic even when standing still. This motorcycle's Apex Predator stance defines what it does on track. It's raw, menacing, and outrageously wild. I have to admit, this is one of the wildest bikes I've ever seen. But I don't know if it's that crazy, if I'm being honest, like in terms of the capabilities and all that stuff. So this is interesting because they're pointing it out here. It says active aerodynamics. Can windscreens evolve? Can we push into corners with higher speeds? The aviation DNA in us helped us develop active aerodynamics in motorsports as seen in our factory racing platform. Again, I don't know how much these guys have gone racing or what they've done. I may be totally talking out of turn here, but yeah, I just feel like this is, not really, a factory racing of what are they racing in. So we got the weights here: 178 kilograms. I can't remember how much that would be in pounds. What is it? At times 1.6 or 2.2? I think it's times 2.2 if I remember correctly. So over 500 pounds. Can I do that math? We're doing it in real time now. I'm embarrassing myself. Let's see what the conversion is because I can't remember because I'm a dumb American. 392 pounds. Yeah, it's by 2.2, so I did remember it correctly. Under 400 pounds, wet and ready to ride. I guess there's not much wet in it, right? Aluminum construction. Yeah, you want to look like this dude. This sortie never ends. I think sortie is, why is it sortie? Is that exit in French? I don't remember. I'm really showing my Americanness at this point. So let's see what other specifications we have. These are the two gentlemen that founded the company. It's pretty light on specs. It says here, additionally, there will also be the brand new F99 electric motorcycle with an impressive drag coefficient of 0.45 due to its air blade design, 120 horsepower at 400 pounds, can reach speeds of 265 kilometers per hour and accelerate from 0 to 100 in just 3 seconds, expected to hit the market by 2025. I will say, I'll believe it when I see it, but this is the type of product that people would get just because of the way it looks. This is a very emotional and cool looking design. So yeah, I wanted to show you guys this one too. I thought this one was pretty sweet. Let's see what y'all are saying over in the chat. Let's see. It says, it looks like if the RC390 was 1,000. Yeah. Sortie is a mission. Sortie is an aviation thing. Look, I don't know anything about planes, all right? I thought they were talking French, okay? Sweet Jesus. That is on me. That's my bad. Buck Rogers says, I'm about to sell my bikes for crypto money. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. Don't sell your bikes for crypto money. So, yeah, that covers the news. So now, if y'all are interested, your sweet Papa Yam here, your public servant, your patron saint of motorcycling, I will chat here with you. I will sit here with you. If you have any questions for your sweet Papa Yam, it is now an open forum. Drop me in the comments over there. We will chat a little bit. And, yeah, we will enjoy ourselves on the stream. So, I'm going to start answering some questions. So, Will here says, is it worth it to mod an MT-09 to be an A-class track bike? I like the all-in-one vibe of it, but I want it to be more track-focused. It depends on what generation you have. If you have one of the newer ones, I highly recommend it. The older ones are almost, you cannot really modify them to be that good on track. You can modify them to be somewhat competent, but never quite good enough. So that would be my opinion on that. Let's see here. Biggie says sortie might be French-based, but the translation is mission generally for a plane. Okay, good to know. Glad I know now. Christopher says Yamaha needs to make a WR250R replacement. I want a dual sport and not settle for a CRF 300 or KLX 300, or buy an exorbitantly priced European bike. And I completely agree. I think the two bikes Yamaha needs to make are an R4 and a Yamaha 350R. 100%. Those are two bikes they need to make. Senpai, do you have any experience with the Damon motorbikes? I've only tried the Zeros. Do they compare? I've never ridden a Damon. We made a whole video on them. But yeah, I don't have any experience on them, unfortunately. The Seagull asks, looking to upgrade from my Grom, Aprilia 660. Well, the world is your oyster if you're upgrading from a Grom. You got to tell me a little bit more about what you want and what you're looking to do, what your budget is. If you're looking at an Aprilia 660, you can't go wrong. I love that bike. It's a great motorcycle. I don't think you would feel bad about owning one. So, yeah. Okay. Coop Dog, is an MT-09 a good beginner bike from a dirt bike background? This would help a lot. I think it can be. I've seen a lot of guys go straight into an MT-09 platform motorcycle or XSR 900 from a dirt bike, and they were just fine. So, yeah. Have you tried using a radar detector? I find mine very useful, and I can go pretty much drive at any pace I want, only slowing down when it goes off. I've never used one on a bike. I have seen some in automobiles, but I've never used one. I don't know. I just don't speed that much. So, yeah. Coop Dog says, a brother is ignoring a kid. I don't know. I hope I didn't ignore you. I tried not to. Let's see here. Self-balancing systems. I don't know much about them. I think they're cool if they work well, but I don't know anything about them. What are your thoughts on the new Yamaha Cafe Racer, the XSR 9GP or the 900 GP? I think it's super cool. The design is really, really neat, and they'll sell a lot of them just because of the way they look, because they're really, really cool. Let's see here. Will they ever make a good motorcycle racing sim setup for the home? Ride Series is controller only. You know, I think there's so much going on with that, the way that a bike leans and takes corners. There used to be this little motorcycle training, like, metal, like, tool thing that you could use. You could sit on it and, like, actually train, go side to side. Maybe if you had some sort of force feedback motor, you could make that work a little bit better. But I think it's ultimately just a little bit more complicated than cars because it's just a seat and a steering wheel. So I don't know if we're ever going to have one. I don't know. Motomaniac, which is better, Yamaha VMAX, new or old? I think the new one is better. That new VMAX, the newer, the second generation, whatever you want to call it. I rode one back-to-back with the old one, and while the old one is charming and interesting, the new one just feels righteous. It is a ridiculous motorcycle. So much fun. Ty Biggers, CBR 650R first bike with a bajillion question marks after it. I think that's a little bit too spicy, in my opinion. A little bit too spicy. Okay, here. The Seagull. Honestly, just a daily ride, but budget-wise, trying to be under 10 if I can help it, but the Aprilia is so pretty, I might just shell out for it. I really think that you should. I think the RS660 is one of the best bikes on the market. It handles great. It goes great. It's got great torque. It does everything really, really, really well. Yeah, it's really sweet. Let's see. Other questions here. Coop Dog, is there a Discord? There sure is. Go to yammynoob.co, become a member, and you get access to the Discord, baby. Let's see. Christopher says, I wouldn't get a first-year model Aprilia. The 457 needs a few years. 100%. You should wait at least 1 or 2 years to get the 457. Not worth it immediately. There's also a fantastic array of beginner bikes you can buy right now. Yamaha GP Racer, no U.S. model. Is that true? I did not hear about that it wasn't coming to the U.S. That really makes me really sad. John EXP here, old school viewer, has to be. We need a new BRZ rain drift video. Man, I sold the BRZ fucking 6 years ago now. It's been a long time. I currently have a 991 generation 911, which has been a lot of fun. Really enjoying the Porsche. It's my first one. And yeah, something tells me I'm not going to go drift it in the rain. It's a little too nice to do that. Okay, Ride to Death. When are we going to see more Turbo Busa content? Man, thinking about it, my builder texted me, kind of egging me on a little bit. He was like, yo, I know the Turbo Busa blew up. Bring it by my place. We'll fix it. And I was like, man, I just don't really want to drop money and fix the bike for like a fifth time. It's just like emotionally draining to like fix the bike again. I'm so ready to be done with it, but I don't know what I would get afterwards. I got to be totally honest. I was at the dealership the other day and I saw a bright orange brand new Gen 3 Hayabusa. And I was like, that is pretty sweet. I actually came home and I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, saw a really bright orange Hayabusa at the dealership. And she's like, don't even think about it. And I was like, yeah, I should not even discuss that. John says sub since 70K. Dude, thank you. Man, that is a crazy long time. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let me see here. What are the questions? When are you getting a Niken? Man, that would be a fun bike to get. I would like to ride one in general. So Bogdan here. Hello, Yam from Romania. What's up, Romania? What time is it over there? It's probably very early in the morning. Or very late in the evening. Looking to upgrade next year to a CF Moto 650 GT or an 800 NK. Love more CF Moto content. Love your channel. Thank you very much. We are talking to the CF Moto reps right now. We want to hook up something with the 800 NK because a lot of people are talking about it. That would be a pretty cool bike. So, Yam, is the CBR 650R good for canyon carving? It totally is. The CBR 650R, the CBR, so that's the fully faired one. I don't remember if that one has the same Showa fork as the CB650R, but I know the CB650R, which is basically the same bike, sans the fairings, works super, super well side to side. It just carves corners really beautifully. Ton of fun to ride. Really enjoyed that motorcycle. So, yeah, I would highly recommend it. Any classic bikes you'd like to review? I'd love to hear you talk about the old Kawasaki KZ1300. Dude, there's lots of classic bikes I'd love to ride. I'd love to ride a RD350. I'd love to ride a CBX. I'd love to ride an Aprilia RS250, the two-strokes. There's just so many bikes that I would want to ride. It would be so much fun to ride some classic bikes, but those are the hardest ones to find. Bogdan says it's 1:30 at night. Go to bed. It's too late. All right, going to answer a few more questions here. CF Moto, Yam falling for the Chinese propaganda. Dude, I'm just trying to increase my social credit score, bro. If I increase it enough, I can go over there and I can hang out with John Cena and get some Bing Chillin' ice cream and feel good about myself. Goop Dog here. I can't tell if I want a dual sport or an MT-09. If I do, what dual sport should I get? Okay, if you get a dual sport, look, here's my thing. If you get a dual sport, you either get a Yamaha WR250R because it's goated in the sauce and is genuinely one of the greatest dual sports ever made. I don't care what anyone says. The valve service intervals are over like 26,000 miles. It is indestructible. It's pretty lightweight. It works beautifully. The mod potentials are outrageous. WR250R, goated. Or you get one of the new KTM products, Husky products, the 500s, the 350s, because those are ridiculously good, but they're expensive and the maintenance kind of sucks. So that would be my recommendation. Drew says the answer is both. I'm not sure. Okay, Larry says, hey, Yami, Panigale V2 and V4, which is the better track weapon? No doubt about it, the V4 is superior. I took both the V2 and the V4 out on track. I've actually taken two V4 products out on track. I took the V4R and the V4S Street Fighter on track. Both were just outrageously good. The thing about the V4 that's so good is how confident it makes you feel using the power. The electronics, the frame, the way it all works. You can tell it's Ducati doing its best, right? The V2 feels a bit like a last generation product because it kind of is. That whole frame and engine combination's been a little long in the tooth. The V4 is their new, man, all that MotoGP knowledge, You just feel, dude, it's so good. It is so ridiculously good. So yeah, V4, no doubt about it. Snoopy says, what is the opposite of dopamine? Motorcycles. Duh. Have you ever ridden an 06 to 16, an 08 to 16 Fireblade? I have not, but I know those are extremely good motorcycles. Would love to ride one of those. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to answer a couple more questions, then I do have to get going. Any Black Friday merch or any Black Friday sales for Yami merch? So we actually have a 50x entries for all the giveaway bikes right now. So if y'all go over to yaminoob.co, you can get 50x entries for every dollar you spend. That's our crazy Black Friday deal. And I'll clue you guys into a secret giveaway that's going to happen in a couple of days. We're doing a Honda Monkey 48-hour giveaway. So make sure you check that out. It's going to launch, I think, this coming Monday for Cyber Monday, if I remember correctly. So sit tight. Sit tight. That one's going to be good. That one's going to be pretty good. Jasta says he was paid to ask that question. That's funny. Motomaniac, what do you think is the most nice-looking bike? I really think that the Ducati Panigales they're just gorgeous. Yamaha R1 as well, so pretty. I know those are really basic answers. I do think the Kawasaki Z900 RS, really beautiful bike as well. I just remember too the Triumph Scramblers, the 1200 XCs. Those look beautiful too. I love the way those look. The Speed Triple 1200RR, I also think is a really cool bike. So, yeah. The Seagull asks here, you did the Buell Hammerhead. Any plans to review the Super Cruiser? The Buell guys are actually just here today picking up the Hammerhead. They took it out to COTA, and they're going to bring it back for something or another. And I told them, I was like, y'all get me the Super Cruiser because I'll guarantee you that's going to get like 500,000 views in the first 7 days when I post it. Because people are they're super psyched on the Super Cruiser. So, yeah. Alex says, anything MV Agusta. I forgot about that. Yes, for beautiful bikes, MV Agustas, gorgeous, so unique and artistic and, just motorcycle art. Truly motorcycle art. Guys, I'm going to answer one last question. So whoever's got it is going to get lucky. I'm going to answer it, and then I do have to get going, but this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for chiming in for Live with Yam. This was a good time. Here we go. Last question. Should we go for a used Daytona? If yes, which year model? Okay, so if you're going for a used Daytona, you got to get the 2013 Plus, and I'd recommend getting a 15 to a 17 or 18, whenever the last year they did it with. That means that all the kinks from the second gen were worked out. They don't have any electrical issues. They're bulletproof, reliable, and I'm living proof of that. I have a 2015 675R that I've used as a track mule for 4.5 years now. I've crashed it. I've ranged it to redline. I raced it, and it just keeps churning and burning. I just did the valve checks on it. All the valves were in spec except for one. The left bank cylinder on the exhaust side, that was the only one that was a little out of spec, and that's a bike that's seen ridiculous abuse. I turn it on, ring it to redline, and turn it off. That's how I live with that bike. It's crashed well, so I think those bikes are awesome. They're virtually indestructible. So, yeah. Guys, that's going to wrap up the stream today. Thank you so much for checking it out. If you liked hanging out with me and you want to hang out with me more, join over on yaminoob.co. I'm on our Discord every day, all the time. I answer questions in there, hang out with the boys. I drop in and do little drive-bys with my messages and stuff. It's a lot of fun. The community's really cool. Everybody's really welcoming too. So if you've been on the fence and you don't know whether you want to join or not, I do recommend it. And yeah, I appreciate it. Catch you guys later. Bye-bye.